The issue behind us isn't going away. And as you can see, literally 20 feet behind us is these tankers, these DOT 111s that are sitting on the track day in, day out, while residents right here are trying to sleep or trying to live their daily lives. I made a promise a couple months ago that we were going to make some changes. And I guess Global really hasn't heard us. So what we're doing today is in a partnership with Mert Simpson, our county legislator who represents down here, Norma Chapman, who is our county legislator, who's going to introduce a resolution, working with our county attorney and having our district attorney sign off on it and review it to make sure we can do this, is we're going to set these fines that we talked about. In the beginning when I did the moratorium back in March, was basically to say, look, we're not going to have it in our backyard without getting input from the residents. And it's about the safety and health of the residents and then the safety and health of the environment that we live in. Because, I always talk about my children, and we say down the road we want to make sure this is a healthy place to live. We're fighting for it today, and it's a reason behind us right now. We've had over 100 tankers a day going through our backyards now. Think about that. Oil has tripled in production, and it's not slowing up. I applaud the commissioner to say that they can't have their secrecy when they went to Homeland Security about what's in our backyard. How do we respond to this? And hopefully soon we're going to have the report out from the Sheriff's Department on how to respond to this, what type of equipment we're going to need, and most importantly, how do we protect the people? And how do we protect the environment?
To thank County Executive Dan McCoy for his leadership and for the cooperative team effort we have with his advisory committee led by Peter Iwanowitz, and myself and my colleague Norma Chapman are introducing legislation to make it mandatory that oil companies report spills within a 30-minute window of any possible incident or any actual incident. I'm very happy to hear that County Executive Dan McCoy is putting on the table the need to first and foremost make the residents who are directly in the line of fire safe and relocated to an area where they won't be exposed to this. So again, I commend County Executive Dan McCoy for bringing the team together. Norma Chapman and myself will be introducing the legislation, and from what I know of our colleagues, we should have overwhelming support in terms of getting this passed.
I also want to thank Chairman Sean Morris, who's also supporting this legislation with the two legislators. But it gets me to Peter Iwanowitz, the expert, the man that is going to come up with a plan with his committee that is going to protect not just the residents, but the environment of Albany County.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on a warm morning. And thank you, County Executive and Legislator Simpson, for advancing the legislation. It is a step in the right direction to help get better accountability of where big oil is going and what their plans are here in Albany County. I'll be brief in my remarks, and you may have more questions about where the committee is going. We've advanced some ideas before the County Executive that he and his team are sort of noodling on now. But they sort of get to the heart of the issue of why the moratorium was done in the first place and why he asked me as an Albany County resident to sort of lead a committee and pull together some initial experts, and we'll be building the list out further, but really trying to bring a team together to really assess and understand the full implications of what's going on here now and what's likely to go on in the future as big oil looks at Albany as a crude oil hub. It's something that we're new to here in Albany. We're getting more adjusted to over time, but clearly they're going to be moving more product through here. We have to have a better understanding of what it means. So first and foremost, we'd like to ride the rails in Albany County with the railroad companies to really map out in our heads and in our eyes what's at risk. There's air quality problems. There are health and safety problems. As we see, this industry is prone to spills. The magnitude of the spills remains a mystery. But what happens if one of those spills occurs near one of the reservoirs, like Waterville Reservoir where there are rail lines? What happens if the spill occurs and it messes up the sewage system so that wastewater treatment plants aren't able to run? A lot of unknowns, so we want to start mapping out the water quality impacts to ensure that the safe drinking water we have now is maintained. There are a range of different things we want to look at air quality wise, so we brought in health experts. We'll be bringing in air monitoring experts to have a better understanding of the vapors we're breathing in today and the fumes we smell, what does it mean from a public health point? What are the chemical constituents of those vapors? And how do we need to take preventive steps to make sure that health impacts down the line aren't going to be too great? And you've heard County Executive McCoy talk about the health and safety. I think everybody who's here today and the people who live here day in and day out can agree that a chain link fence is not the appropriate divide in separating from such a volatile product and an explosive product to ensure day in and day out health and safety. So we've recommended sort of some steps there to take to think about sort of health and safety. So in short, just to really summarize, I think it's great that he's asked me to pull together a team of health professionals, lawyers, industry experts that are advising us that aren't named on the panel but advising us as we go forward, so that Albany County can establish a comprehensive review of what it means to bring oil through your county and what steps need to be taken to protect them. Other counties in New York are going to learn from our experience, so we have an eye towards that, what it's going to cost for first responders, the training that's going to be needed. Sheriff Apple has been working really aggressively to put together that plan. But also what it means to protect your natural resources and the health and safety of your citizens. So that's really what the committee's all about, and these interim recommendations that he's jumped on and moving on right away, we're really happy with and thankful for his leadership on that.
We are prepared with the passage of this statute to stand up to the health and safety threats that the transportation of crude oil poses. We have researched this issue, and to get back to an earlier question, while the federal government may regulate the railroads and interstate commerce, it is the solemn duty of local jurisdiction to protect the health, safety, and welfare of their system. And when someone spills oil, or any chemical or any toxin, it is the duty of the local officials and the first responders reside here in Albany County to make sure that they are aware and that they react quickly to preserve life and property. And when we don't become aware, and when it's concealed by the wrongdoer, we can impose both civil and criminal penalties. And Mr. McCoy has directed me to compose legislation with the legislators Simpson to accomplish that. And at his direction it is done, and I am confident it will withstand any legal challenge.